be able to get back to starting and playing 80 minutes for Ireland.
Okay, you've been hanging out with an Irish couple who've driven from Connemara to Shizuoka.
Yeah, popped down to Shizuoka City there yesterday afternoon. It's an interesting place. It's right by the seaside. Got lost in a pier yesterday. I keep getting lost. I felt like Frank Sabaka in season 2 of The Wire, getting lost down in the docks. But yeah, met up with this Irish couple from Galway, from Clifton, PJ and Maureen Heffernan. They've driven all the way from Connemara to Yokohama and now are down here in Shizuoka. So that interview with them is coming up a little bit later on.
All right, I'm looking forward to that. You're also heading into the Japanese press conference, proper full-on translation facilities today, I would expect?
Yeah, well, it's going on as I speak at the moment. The Captain Michael Leach has been dropped from the team. That is the big news. He is on the bench this weekend. We've already had Jamie Joseph talk. He was keeping his cards close to his chest and also not wanting to ruffle any feathers. I put it to him about Yusuke Kizu's comments or interpretive comments during the week about the Irish scrum. He said that it was his first press conference as a young man. Ireland are legal sometimes, he says, but he's got great respect for their scrum. Joe Schmidt, meanwhile, this morning was saying that Cian Healy will be using those comments as extra motivation. But so far, not a whole pile of stirring the pot being successful inside this press conference. I should say, both of this morning's press conferences have been extremely well attended. And the Japanese photographers do love a snap. The Irish communications manager had to step out after Schmidt and Besselfish talking and said to them, no more snap photography, probably got all you needed.
All right. With flashes, it's a pain in the ass.
Yeah.
Right. Owen, good stuff. Enjoy the rest of the day and we'll play that video a little bit later on. Thanks very much. Michael White on Twitter says, difficult game for Rob Kearney. Last few years, he always takes 2 or 3 games to get up to speed. I don't know, Joe Schmidt didn't agree with that. He was like, he can go straight back in. He's got that ability to be injured, come straight back in and play well. I thought he was great in the Wales game.
Yeah, brilliant. And he's got such experience as well that, you know, it's not going to faze him. He doesn't need to be playing, you know, every week to be able to play the game. He knows his role inside out. He's unbelievable under the high ball. He's a big game player, so there'll be no problem with him. Johnny is, for me, against Samoa, I'd be worried because Johnny is so brave.
Yeah.
He doesn't, you know, he can't tell himself to ease off out of this tackle now, ease off out of this challenge. You've big game coming up in a week or two. So he'll fly into everything, so I would be...
Play him against Russia, that's the best case scenario, if he's fit.
If he's fit.
Yeah.
And I'd hold him out of the other one because
exactly.
them boys are huge and they come running and they'll run at him too and they'll run at every fella, but
yeah,
they'd love it to hop off a big name.
The Ireland team, just to recap, Cian Healy starts, Rory Best and Tyke Furlong, first choice front row, first choice second row, Ian Henderson, James Ryan, and the back row, first choice Peter O'Mahony, Josh van der Fleer and CJ Stander. 9 Conor Murray, 10 is Jack Carty. It's as Owen said, our first World Cup start for him. Jacob Stockdale obviously retains his place in the wing, but the other wing is Keith Earls and full back is Rob Kearney. In the centre partnership, Chris Farrell comes in for Bundy Aki, who is out of the squad, and Gary Ringrose is at 13. The replacements, Cronin's going to see his first game time, Kilcoyne and Porter, so Kilcoyne and Porter retain their places. Ty Byrne retains his place, so he wasn't punished for the yellow card. Rhys Ruddock comes onto the bench. It's McGrath, Carberry and Larmour are the...
it's a good squad, right?
Yeah, they're the backs. So Larmour obviously covers everybody. And maybe centre, maybe Carberry's the centre, and then Luke McGrath obviously, he's going to get game time. Yeah, so 4 changes from the side that beat Scotland. Jack Conan, as Owen said, was due to start, but he suffered a foot injury in training. Somebody stood on his foot. And Peter O'Mahony retains his place after passing all his HIA tests. Let's hear what Joe Schmidt had to say about Peter O'Mahony being past fit to play this weekend.
Yeah, Pete was mad keen to play. He only played, that 25 minutes. And unfortunately, I think we might have got Pete back out there, but we had 2 HIAs at the same time, and therefore, the communication wasn't as smooth as it normally is. And when you're trying to repeat words back to somebody, it became a little bit difficult for him. He flew through his HIA2 and HIA3, which confirms to us that he didn't have a concussion, that the HIA process is a precautionary process to ensure that anyone who has a suspected concussion is immediately removed from the field. It doesn't mean that they've had a concussion, and in both Bundy and Pete's cases, they flew through HIA2 and HIA3. They are absolutely symptom-free as they were after the match. So, there's no elevated risk, we don't believe. We've got a super medical staff and that allows us the confidence to to have those guys involved if we see fit, and we mix and match a little bit there. Obviously, we're delighted with the way Chris played. Gary Ringrose played well. We just think that if we put that back out, it's a good bit of continuity for us, particularly because Bundy wasn't maybe due to play this game anyway, and he's played a lot in the lead-up, so that was kind of part of our thinking.
Yeah, that backs up the point that Ron Nagar was making on the show yesterday. They knew months in advance what their team was going to be, kind of almost irrespective of how people were playing. Obviously, they're going to make changes if they have to because of injury. Here's what's coming up on the show. Obviously, Kieran Donaghy's here with us. Irish Rugby latest. We've done all that. Sports page is coming your way. It's 7:42 this morning, so we'll get to the sports pages next. You can tweet us, obviously, every morning using the hashtag OTB AM. Kevin McManamon's going to join us in studio after 8 o'clock. Going to talk about some Irish super fans around about 8:55, and then Ireland against Japan. More preview coming your way at 9 o'clock. It's the big game on Saturday morning this week. Sports news coming your way at 9:15 with Phil as well. Now, will we take you through the newspapers at 7:43? I'm going to start with the big one, of course. It's the Irish Sun this morning, straight to the front page. Ignore the headline. And the masthead of the Irish Sun this morning is Kilbany Flutters. And it's a badly photoshopped head of Kevin Kilbane alongside Maura, who is going to be on Dancing on Ice. And Maura from Love Island. I had to have this explained to me. I had to have this explained to me. I'm not going to lie to you.
Why, you're not a Love Island fan?
I wasn't a Love Island fan. I didn't realise that she went viral when she said that Tyson Fury's nephew, cousin, brother. What's his first name? Tommy Fury. Tommy gave her the fanny flutters.
Yeah.
Hence the Kilbany Flutters. Yeah. So, there you go. Kevin Kilbane in the place of Maura's fanny. Kilbany Flutters.
He's going to be, we were talking to him last night.
He's very excited.
Yeah.
And a bit nervous.
Oh, I'm off again with my sweaty palms. I was on stage with him last night, and as soon as he started talking about it, I remember when Aidan was doing Dancing with the Stars, every night I used to be watching him on the Sunday, and just before he'd start coming out, I was just like so nervous for him. And Kevin is going doing that on ice skates.
What was your advice for Kev?
My advice was to get practicing and get on the ice as much as possible and at least be comfortable and not. It's just the fear of Dancing with the Stars last year. I was approached, and I was just the fear of me with my size 13 shoes absolutely capsizing some dancer and hitting the ground and being a viral sensation on Twitter was enough to keep me a million miles from it. And but yeah, imagine doing that on ice is petrifying, and it's a huge show now. Like it's ITV's biggest. It gets huge viewership.
Millions and millions and millions of people.
So we were just telling Kevin just to be nice and relaxed as possible before he goes out and do it. But he was talking last night about how he was nervous for a lot of the early part of his career.
Yeah,
when he was playing with Ireland.
Yeah,
that's when he's a brilliant soccer player and he's so comfortable, and imagine how nervous he's going to be when he has to go out and throw a 7-stone dancer up over his head on skates.
I hope it's only 7 stone. I hope that they find someone small, because like that,
why are you saying it's not overly strong?
Bringing them gently back to earth. Well, because if you drop somebody at that speed, like, you could do them serious damage.
Yeah.
But look, he's an athlete. He's a competitor.
Yeah.
His competitive instinct's going to kick in.
Oh yeah, he will. Yeah, and he's going
to give up the booze and the fast food.
Yeah, he's a popular guy.
No evidence of that last night, though.
No, he was tucking in to fish and chips before he went on the stage. So yeah, I think he's starting today. It's one of those guys, that I'll start the diet tomorrow.
Yeah.
I'll start the gym tomorrow.
Yeah.
That tomorrow doesn't come for a while until panic stations kick in.
Yeah,
it needs to fit into a leotard a few weeks out.
Like at least Aidan O'Mahony kind of was happy enough for all the
oh yeah, he was. Yeah, but I told him that Aidan is a selector with me with the college team, so that Aidan might meet up with him and give him a program. He does online programs. So,
oh yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So Kevin might buy into a bit of that. So he seemed interested enough in that. So he, the core and your groin strength and groin muscles and all that has to be huge for what you're doing. So. He'll have to strengthen up that core and them areas. He hasn't done it in a while, obviously, since he's retired. So
I can't wait for this. It's going to be amazing. So the back page of the Irish Sun at 7:46 this morning. Pathetic. Manchester United need pens to beat Rochdale. Hammers thrashed. Lights out on cherries. So, obviously, Man United needed penalties to beat Brian Barry Murphy's Rochdale last night, which is an amazing achievement for Rochdale. West Ham were beaten 4-0 at Oxford, and the Cherries were the victims of 3 floodlight failures. They lost 2-0 at Burton, and Sheffield United were beaten 1-0 by Sunderland. So, the 4th round draw for the Carabao Cup: Everton versus Watford, Villa versus Wolves, Man City versus Southampton, Burton versus Leicester, Crawley versus Colchester, so one of them went to the 5th round, Chelsea versus Man United, Oxford versus Sunderland, and Liverpool versus Arsenal. So I like this. I like the midweek League Cup under lights. And there's, especially as the season goes on, the games get better. Pep Guardiola wants to win trophies, and so he puts out a good team the whole way through, and everybody else is like, hang on a second, we need to put out a good team. And then some of them don't put out a good team, and they manage to get through to the latter stages. At that point, they do.
Yeah, it's good. Like, in fellas that are, it's a great opportunity for fellas in these big squads now that most teams have. And obviously it's a huge chance for the minnows to have a crack off the big shots. And Brian Barry Murphy, would have been great for his boys last night against United. And they'll be desperately disappointed losing out in penalties, because if someone told you beforehand, we'll take him to penalties, you'd be kind of like,
let's practice them this week.
Oh yeah, and I'm sure they did, in the hope that might happen. So tough on them players too at Old Trafford to step up in front of that crowd and take them penalties. So United probably always had the advantage going in there.
The Hurler of the Year shortlist is Seamus Callanan, TJ Reid and Patrick Horgan. It's hard to complain about any of them being on the list.
Yeah.
But Noel McGrath didn't make it, Brendan Maher didn't make it, Ronan Maher didn't make it, Pádraig Maher didn't make it.
Yeah.
I thought Pádraig Maher was like...
Oh, he was unbelievable this year, yeah. It's normally, Mark won it in 07 and Tomas won it in... maybe 04. Player of the Year.
Yeah.
But it's really hard for, like, backs have to be absolutely sensational, forwards have to be sensational, but it's easier to stand out every week as a forward. You're playing well, you're scoring goals, you're scoring points, your team is winning. You're going to be in the talk much quicker than somebody actually watching out for how well a cornerback is doing.
Yeah.
Or how well a centre back is doing. And I think there was a stat there that Pádraig Maher hasn't missed a minute in this decade for Tipperary in Championship football, which...
It's pretty amazing, isn't it?
For the way he plays the game, and the longevity and how strong and tough he is incredible, really.
Yeah. So the shortlist is drawn up by the All Stars committee and members of the media, but the actual decision itself is by the players. So, how does the voting work? You get
an email and
right. Straight from the GPA, is it?
Yeah.
Okay, and so you just... It's not... Because the old PFA system used to be the PFA representative in England would go into the dressing room and go, all right, lads, who's Footballer of the Year?
No.
And maybe they would all get back, or maybe there would be a consensus.
Yeah.
And maybe that's changed now. Maybe it's a text to each of them individually going, who's your vote for?
Yeah.
Or like, here's a Twitter poll.
Yep.
Which would probably be the easiest. I don't think there's too many people complaining about the 45 nominees. Haven't seen any hot takes just yet on who's missing from the actual hurling nominees, but the Laois goalkeeper, Enda Rowland, made it. I think he might be the only Laois nominee, so fair play to him, because they obviously had an amazing season.
Yep.
A couple of quick comments on YouTube so far. Delighted for Carty, he's earned this, but can't help wondering what it says about the fitness of our other 10s. If Carby comes on and breaks down injured, can Carty come back on? Well, it's rugby, so of course he can come back on. I think it's a smart move having Carty start. Carby hasn't played a game in ages, plus he's an ideal impact sub, and Carty has been playing a blinder for ages. It's a sign that when you pick a team based on a good performance, that everybody goes, okay, so actually there's a proper competition here.
Yeah.
If I play well, I'm going to be rewarded.
Yeah, it's huge.
Because this game's no gimme.
No, not at all. Not when you're going playing the hosts. They're a proud nation from the their own people. They're going to be ravenous for us, and they'll see how good Ireland were too, so they'll be kind of gunning.
The Irish Times this morning, Carty to start at 10 as Sexton is not risked. And there's a quick interview with Keith Earls, record breaker Earls, still in full flight, 3 World Cups on, so he's obviously our record try scorer at World Cups. And then there's just, that's the rest of the World Cup roundup. Sorry, I should have gone on to the next page to see what else they've got for us. And then it's just the All-Star nominees, and Kieran Kilkenny was doing press yesterday, so you'll see him across your papers today.
Yeah, again, the star was United so close to humiliation, which is a tough one for them if they'd lost that.
Wow.
Interesting that Madrid are set to swoop for a pair with Spurs of crisis. Obviously Eriksen and Pochettino there are you know, I don't know, he doesn't seem happy this year. We've talked about that on the show already. Diarmuid's return was tough for me, Bernard Brogan. So, you know, it was tough for me. He didn't take my exact place, but he took my place on the bus and then a place on the team. So, you know, his return was obviously tough for Bernard, who had put in a huge effort to get back this year. But he goes on to say that, you know, Jim, he's had these glory days. It was all about winning in the end. But I'm sure that first All-Ireland final when he wasn't on the team bus must have been cool. And it's something that has to be looked at. I think they have to, I don't know what genius came up with the 26, but it has to go to 30 again. I just don't understand that you've got 30 guys. You know, if you're on an A versus B game and you're testing your opposition all year, and it comes to the final and you're told, no, actually, yeah, you're not going on the bus. You can go up into the crowd or you can go with your family members. It's very tough on guys that aren't getting paid to go sit up there and have people kind of go, well, why are you up here? Why aren't you down there with the boys, or why aren't you with the team? And there's this thing then with management that, oh, they're not on the 26, so they're not going to be fully tuned in, so they might switch other people off. I was always on the basis that you just bring them and they're a part of your team, and you expect them to show a level of professionalism that they are tuned in and they're not goofing around the dressing room or switching fellas off. But it's something that has to be looked at going forward. It's a killer for guys who've trained their whole year, put everything aside, and you get into the biggest day of all and you're told to go up into the stand like every other fella.
Was it originally a move designed to try and damp down the cost of teams? Was that the original thing? And it clearly hasn't had any influence.
Well, the cost it cuts down on is 2 hotel rooms. Because they're still all training, they're still all eating afterwards, they're still all getting physio. They're the costs of an inter-county team. You have these guys in. But it's something that has to be looked at and has to be and raised, and I think you just get it back to 30. I think there deserves to be 30 guys on the squad. You wouldn't have any of those issues with Bernard Brogan if he was sitting up there number 27 and the manager turns around and goes, well, we might need Bernard here in 5 minutes to go, and you put him on. And the way the game has gone squad orientation wise now, you should have as many as you can get.
Yeah. Okay. The back page of the Mirror is Real give us Ericsson and Poch. This is an interesting enough story. Madrid aiming to tie down midfielder in January and then set sights on frustrated Spurs manager. So they haven't quite set their sights on Pochettino yet. It'll be after they already get Christian Eriksen. Real Madrid want Christian Eriksen to sign a pre-contract in January and will then move for Mauricio Pochettino. So Eriksen's now in the final year of his contract and he's rejected a new deal worth $200,000 a week. So I didn't realise that he's basically available for nothing from January. He just sit it out. Yeah. I mean, if I'm Christian Eriksen, that's exactly what I'm doing. Last year, all the money would have gone to Daniel Levy. Now, all the money's going to Christian Eriksen.
Yeah.
And
no clubs let that happen.
It's mad, isn't it?
Just sell him and cash in on him.
You've got to take the money and run.
Yeah, whatever you get.
So look, I don't know what the Pochettino thing. It's saying that eventually Real will make Pochettino their number one target to replace Zidane, because obviously Zidane's getting fired. We all know. That's what happens. Never go back.
The Daily Telegraph, picture of Jack Wilshere there, looking quite shocked. So Hammer Pellegrini's men suffer a cup upset. US warn England, you could be next, is interesting. After Uruguay's shock win over Fiji, America's underdogs plan another surprise. So that'd be great to see Eddie Jones beaten by America in rugby, wouldn't it?
That would be amazing. The Guardian, back page of The Guardian is on the attack, England ready to go against US despite 4-day turnaround. Having slapped a few spirits in Sapporo last Sunday, England's next objective is to put the KO into Kobe, Japan's most enthusiastic rugby city. So Robert Kitson pretty happy with himself about that. And Seventh Heaven, academy recruits help give Lampard home win. So Chelsea's kids are pretty good.
They are, man. Hudson-Odoi was back on the score sheet last night after scoring last Friday for the under 23s or whatever. And
Reece James, the right back, scored a goal, had an assist as well.
Tomori looked unbelievable against Liverpool last week. You've also got Ruben Loftus-Cheek. I saw him on Instagram yesterday on a bike flying, so he's not far away. So we'll have the English team nearly playing.
Things are looking up.
Yeah. The Herald, Kilkenny mindset changed for replay. Really good by Kieran Kilkenny in the Herald today, talking about, that after the drawn game against Kerry, that the management said, Kieran, we need you to score. And it just shows you how good this guy is, that he can kind of go, okay, you want me to change from my playmaking role and my point guard role out the pitch, my quarterback jab to being a threat, and he goes and kicks 4 points from play.
Yeah.
And it looked like...
Straight from the off.
Yeah, and looked like kind of almost saying, "Lads, I can do this every game if you want me to. So just tell me what you want me to do and I'll do it."
There's a bit of that, isn't there? Because like there was times a couple of seasons ago when he was starting games at full forward.
Yeah.
And then he would change, and
he's really. It shows you how good he is, that he can really play both roles really well.
Yeah.
He can be the target man. He's got the strength. He's good in the air. He's good kicking off both feet. He's strong as an ox. So yeah, it's huge mindset for him to be able to do that. They've also touching in on Brogan as well on off the ball yesterday. Dubs Ace will talk to Gavin after some tough decisions. So that'll rumble on for a while. The
back page of the Racing Post, must try harder. Much changed England prime to step up a gear, and they've got a picture of Joe Cockanasinga, who's a major threat in the attack for England today. That game kicks off at 11:45. And the front page is, Enable's a monster, but I hope we can beat her. Enable is a monster and a machine, but if any horse is capable of denying her and Frankie Dettori historic hat-trick in the Qatar Prix de l'Arc de Triomphe, then it is Sotsas. We'll talk about that on Friday Night Racing. Dermot Weld is our special guest on Friday Night Racing. Looking forward to that. One of the biggest names in the history of Irish racing is going to join us in studio Friday afternoon from 3 o'clock for that. You got one more?
Yeah, the Daily Mail. Again, relief for Solskjaer as Nervous United need penalties to beat Rochdale. So we've talked about that, and Canlan for a three-way fight for top honour. He's probably... It's hard to look past him.
It is. TJ was so good though.
TJ was unbelievable, and is unbelievable.
Yeah, if they win the All-Ireland this year, it's like a shoe-in for TJ, but Callan scored a goal in every game.
But he showed more than a goal in every game. He can kind of do that all the time, I think, but it was big scores and big games. And in the semi-final there was a few huge possessions he got, and there was that one, was the ball over the top, was it against Laois where he controlled it? You know, ball going over his head. It was just an amazing piece of skill, and got the goal. So he had a few real standout moments, which always help when you're going for Player of the Year, I think.
Yeah, I don't know, do you have the Indo?
No,
I don't have the Examiner with me either, so we might be able to stick. Oh, there's the Indo. Cardi gets the call to replace injured Sexton against Japan. It's the main headline. Leinster say no to Dubs semi-bye. So there was a suggestion that the Dublin footballers would get a bye through to the semi-final of the Leinster Football Championship, but that's not going to be the case now. There was a Leinster Council meeting yesterday, and that's unfortunately a picture of Shane Duffy, which is not good news for Ireland. Duffy injury concern for McCarthy ahead of vital Euro ties. Villa beat Brighton 3-1 last night. Aaron Connolly played really well, started the game, and really was like a one-man attack, apparently, according to the reports this morning, against Villa. But that is Shane Duffy lying in agony.
He's huge, isn't he? You'd want him out.
And then the Examiner this morning, Tommy Martin's column, always great. Should Manchester United have stuck with David Moyes after all? And then seeing the world, wiser Earls making most of Rugby World Cup experience. Straight back in the team, right? There was some kind of like, ooh, you know, like the lads played pretty well the last day, but maybe it's just about giving everybody game time. Or maybe Earls is so great that like you have to put him in the team.
Yeah, you have to put him in if he's right and if he's ready to go. He's electric and great tackler. He does everything well, you know, and he's got that bit of explosiveness and that bit of magic that he can turn something into nothing, which is very important, I think, at a World Cup, that you have players that do that. I think as Stockdale is brilliant, and he's a power runner, and you know, we showed again the last day him going down the line, popping it over the fullback's head and running onto it. And I think when it comes to South Africa, they're going to have or whoever it is in that big knockout game, they're going to have someone waiting for Stockdale on that. I would say it'll be something they'll have talked about. Whereas Earls can just out of nowhere get into open field, carry the ball down the pitch, and move Ireland up, which will be important in those kind of games. So yeah, get him in there and get him as much game time as possible.
And Conway was great though.
Oh, Conway is,
and he's not in the 23. I wonder, like, does Conway make the 23? Or is Larmour now, because he played well, he's in the 23 automatically? There's that one position that they're all fighting for, on a position on the bench.
It is, when it comes to that, you know, you won't fully know till everybody's healthy and you're in the knockout game. That's when you can really judge a 23. I think before that, you're just kind of, it's all, are they resting guys? Is he injured? Is he a little bump and bruise? You know, this like, these aren't games of football they're playing every week. Like, they're playing rugby, so there's going to be bangs, there's going to be bruises, there's going to be dead legs, there's going to be knocks, bony bruising here and there, sore ribs that none of us will know about. You know, Colin Fuller's is in the medical team over there. He was with us with Kerry, unbelievable physio, and he'll keep all them boys. He's a great sense of calm about him. I found in the year he was in with Kerry, whenever there was injuries, he was so cool about how he'd assess them. You never felt panic off him.
Right.
And he had a sense of calm about him.
That's important.
It is, especially out here in this, because you've so many games.
And was he in your physio during games as well, or was it?
Oh yeah, he was. No, he was. Yeah, he. We were lucky enough that we had him for a full year, and you know, he's really good. I see him on the pitch all the time with the lads, and I can see how he's, you know, obviously from having him, how he's dealing with all these bumps and bruises, and you know, as I said, look, I don't think you can judge the 23 until they pick it when everybody's fit, and it's a knockout game, and you're going for. There's no holding people, there's no resting people. It's do or die, and that's when we'll finally know who's where in this pecking order, because they are all flying, which is great, and that's what we need. And you know, there were major question marks a few months ago about, you know, where this team are at, and it looks like they're just building nicely. Yeah,
not the least Rory Best. After the season he had, there were definitely signs of him dropping off his own high levels, and then obviously the difficulties in the line-out in the England game. But he's starting this game again. You would expect, if we're 4 tries up at half-time, that Sean Cronin gets the full second half and that they don't use another 80 minutes of Rory Best. Talking to Ron O'Gara yesterday, he was saying that he expects Best to kind of... he had a specific number of minutes in mind, but had predicted that, you know, they probably only wanted to use him for 50 minutes the first day, but he played 80 for whatever reason. So very individually tailored programmes that they have for all those guys. It's interesting that he does get the start again.
Yeah, I was listening to him, and I heard it as well a week ago about this kind of eight game build-up that they had to the matches, and how, you know, and that's including the group games, so who gets as many minutes will be laid out and will be talked about, and they'll have kind of like, almost like we'd have in work, a programme of works of who's going to play and what they're doing at what times. And of course, when injuries come and you bump him up and he goes down and fellas change, but they would have a set routine for who's going to play in all these games to get everybody the required amount of time. I would say a bit through science, a bit through, you know, that side of it, as well as fellas looking for form or fellas needing form. And I think they just want to get through the group and have everybody hopping off the ground is the most important thing.
In basketball, would it be, I need some more minutes here, I want to get some extra, and that's like,
you'd have
fluid enough?
Yeah, you'd have coaches, even with us with the Warriors last Saturday night. You know, it was very much, you know, Paul Dick, who'd be one of the best players in Ireland, came out of the game after 4 minutes because he was to get 2 minutes of rest between minute 4 and 6, and then he was going back in.
Right.
And it was, you know, I could see the boys had a kind of table chart.
Right.
And that was done for the first half, you know, first nearly 3 quarters. But then it comes to win the games in the melting pot, and it kind of goes out the window. Then you're just looking at, okay, who can help me the most here? Who's having a good game? Who's not having a good game? So, yeah, I think it's
those plans are great, but you've got to be flexible within them as well, right?
Have to be, yeah, because like in basketball, foul trouble can scupper your plans fairly quickly. If a guy picks up 2 or 3 fouls in a quarter, you're saying, okay, he's not going to play the second quarter at all, and I had him down to play these minutes, so who's going to fill them? And there's a whole lot going on, and you see in the NBA there's the minutes restriction, so when guys come back from injury, they will not play more than their minutes restriction that their team has kind of drawn, that the medical team have drawn up for this guy in his return.
They being flexible about it, like there's obviously the famous example of Armagh against Tyrone. I think it's in 2003, either in the replay or what was it?
Kennedy?
Yeah, no, Geezer doesn't touch the ball, and the stats man goes, "Oh, Geezer's not touching the ball," so they whip him off with like 5 or 10 minutes left to go, and Toronto kind of go, okay, all right, lads, here we go. They've just taken McGeeney off. We've got them now. Yeah, you got to be flexible enough to realise what McGeeney means to the people in the stadium, the people on the pitch. Yeah, sometimes things mean different things. Yes, I tell you. Yeah. All right, it's 6 minutes past 8. We're going to take a quick break, and we're going to speak with Kevin McManamon next.
OTB AM. This is OTB Sports Radio.
The Sport Ireland campus Blanchardstown is the home of Irish sport, not just for our athletes but for you in the community. Check out our amazing offers for families with kids camps, sport academies and birthday parties. Or for adults, why not join our gym with a 50-metre pool or your club school, friends can book one of our world-class indoor or outdoor facilities, including our athletics track, soccer, basketball or badminton courts, and many more. Check us out on sportirelandcampus.ie.
Join Bruce Betting now for a risk-free first bet up to €100. That's right. New Irish accounts can enjoy a risk-free first bet up to €100. So if your first bet loses, we'll refund your stake with a free bet. Now that's giving you more. Bruce Betting. In store, online and now on your phone. T's and C's apply. Please gamble responsibly. See dunlewy.net.
OTB AM.
Have you made up your mind at this stage on the pitch about your future? Is this you thinking this is my last time on a pitch with all these lads?
Yeah, well, for me, not there and then. Like that's a decision I'm going to meet. I'm meeting Jim next week actually to have a chat about it. So, but then it's just like for me, it's about family again. Like I got those in my wall at home. In my kitchen is me and the two lads when they're 8 weeks old last year. And all I want to do is get them back there. Do you know what I mean? Obviously, you want to win, you get to play football and get out there. But that was an evening game. I wasn't sure if I was going to be involved. If I wasn't involved, the lads it's past their bedtime. Do you know what I mean? So they weren't coming. Yeah. I was going to be involved. So I said, you know what? I said, Kira, look, bring them in. We'll organise logistics. And in fairness, Kira, she had the hard graft bringing them in.
I feel like Kira's definitely holding up her end of the bargain in this relationship. To be honest,
she is. In fairness, now. No, she's been great. Like and. She's dug in and she's kind of every Tuesday, Thursday, Monday night training in the gym, and then Saturday and Sunday mornings from 9 till 1, 9 till 3 some days. The hours that go into it are frightening. Like you go on a Tuesday, you think it's just training on Tuesday night, you land there at 5 o'clock for a 6 o'clock meeting, obviously half an hour of prep and talking, and you're not home till 9:30, 10 o'clock, like, you know, so you're just missing so much. And yeah, and in fairness to Jim, he's always kind of tried to get the balance right and try and reward like all of our team holidays. If I was a family, so he sends gifts back to the girls whenever he can, because he understands the sacrifice. He's been there as a player and he's been a manager for a long time, and it's more of a sacrifice at home. What Jim actually says is they're the ones that make the sacrifice. We do what we love. We love to play football, and we do it every 4 or 5 times a week. They're at home living the reality. You know what I mean? So thanks, Kira. Camera there.
Yeah, there you go. It's Bernard Brogan speaking last night to Joe. SuperValu GA Ambassador Bernard Brogan. SuperValu GA Ambassador Kevin McManamon was with us as well. How are you doing?
Oh, good now, yeah. Good form. It's an early enough start. I didn't have any of these now last week, but
no, you definitely didn't.
Good to be back.
The Instagram stories have all dried up. You lads have kind of finally put the celebrations to bed for now.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it was a great couple of days now. The city was buzzing, and look, it was pent up energy for a while that we were waiting to celebrate and are hoping to celebrate, and just let the hair down a bit. So yeah,
some nice old boozers. The Sackville. Where else were you? The Lord Edward.
You can't do anything now with the lads not telling half the world where you are on your night out. But yeah, we had a nice one in the Lord Edward. All right,
I was watching your Instagram stories going, they're there, let's go.
Exactly. Well, like we had this thing. There's an upstairs little lounge in the Lord Edward that we went to after one of the games, and it's quiet enough. You know, I sometimes do a bit of work in there on Sunday evenings, and it just said we were looking for somewhere that'd be just us, like, you know.
Yeah, they've music. I didn't know they have music upstairs then.
No, it was actually my dad and his two mates played the El Triangle. They're called him and his two mates, and just invited in anyone that we knew that would give us a few bars or something, and that was a special one.
Christy Dignam, Mary Black, your flatmate.
Yeah. So it was cool. Look, these are the nights you remember. That's how I love to celebrate. I used to love the late nights and scoring points beside the bar, but that I like, it's just the people and music is what I love now.
Can't beat it.
Yeah, so that was a big one for me now. I loved it.
We've Danny O'Reilly on from time to time, and he's always like, I'm always a bit wary about like not asking you about playing football or what's going on with the team or any of that stuff.
Yeah.
But it sounds like you guys have an amazing kind of connection in music and performance that allows you to kind of communicate with each other without kind of, necessarily giving away any state secrets. Unless you're actually telling him all the team stuff, and he's lying to us very well.
Yeah. Like he knows when I'll give him a few bits to keep him happy. All right, but Look, yeah, he's a great bloke, and I'm blessed to be in there with him. He's just been a great impact on my life in general, you know, and I've a lot of time from really admire him and everything he's done and the type of guy he is. So yeah, I do get on really well with him. We do share a lot, and like I loved the idea. It was the sister was in last night, like, and they were coming up with stuff for music, and I waltzed in at 11 o'clock, kind of. I don't know. I just love the idea of. I just love seeing what new music is like and creativity and stuff like that. And it doesn't happen too often in the gaff. You know, he kind of keeps it out of the gaff. But
well, that sounds amazing. So that's Roshi. Now, if anybody is wondering, the piece that you did with SuperValu during the year, I thought was great because it was like a proper insight, and you were very honest. Like you kind of laid bare quite a bit, where you talked about feeling a bit of an imposter, and I was looking back at the dates going, you talked about 2012, like feeling a bit of an imposter. I was like, but hang on, 2011 is when you score a goal in an All-Ireland final and Dublin win their first All-Ireland. So like, you know, it beat Kerry in a massive game. It's big. But even after that, even after you had a pivotal role at key moments in a game like that, the season afterwards, you're like, geez, I'm not really sure if I'm in the right place or if I deserve to be here. Yeah.
It was a strange one when it came out. I didn't think it was overly vulnerable at the time. I just was like, yeah, do you know what? I think and I suppose maybe it's my job and stuff where you sit down with athletes and performers all the time and they tell you it's just the stuff that goes on in my head before a match or a tennis match or a boxing match or whatever it is, like. And so I just had a bit of that for the first few years, had to pick up a few skills, how to deal with it. And you'd think, I suppose, success would change the voice in your head, but not always, you know. There's always going to be that bit of doubt. And it was more of just a intense nervousness before matches and weeks leading up to it, and maybe not giving myself the credit that I should have given me when I played well and stuff like that, or even in 2011, like you mightn't be actually backing yourself, even though you go, she's got a lucky break there. You know, now 9 times out of 10 you might be going, you know what, I deserved it, but a lot of times sometimes it's that dominant thought before you perform can it can just shift you off track a little bit, you know.
So you kind of see a lost season in some respect from a personal level after that, and it comes back the next year, or
like I suppose I remember in 2012 I went and was just like, here, I hadn't really said it to anyone. I went to meet Caroline Currid, who was with us at the time, sports psych, and she was with Limerick last year, I think, with the hurlers. But and we just kind of figured a bit of it out, like, you know, and I just started working on it, and was sure at that stage I went back and started studying sports psychology and was eating up all sorts of books and trying out everything. So
that's not a coincidence. This happens to you. You go through it and you're like, hang on a second, I wouldn't mind doing a bit of this. Is that what happened?
Yeah, there's a bit of that. Yeah, and I think, look, at the time I was selling chicken fillets on the roads around Leinster, driving around for 10 hours a day. You know what I mean? Yeah. And it just wasn't lighting me up. It wasn't.
Not your dream job.
No. And look, it was grand. It suited me because if I wanted a day off or a few hours off, I could do it. I had a fella there, Damien Carroll, that just helped me a lot, you know, and with time off, and it was my business essentially, but he was the man behind it all. You know what I mean? Helped me, like, so. It was grand. It suited me for the first 3 years in football. But sure, look, everything. My whole form was based on how well Dublin were playing, you know, and look, I just wanted a bit of a change. So that's what. I just dropped it at whatever age, about 26 maybe, and says I'll went back up to Jordanstown and started studying for, it took me 2 years. And I only got accredited there about 3 or 4 months ago by the Institute. So it was a long 7 years to be, now you can practice, you can practice as long as you're on the pathway, but I got accredited there. So it was a nice little email to get in to say, you know, finally it was worth the 7 years. So I can kind of let loose a little bit now and work as much as I want, you know. So
you're a sports psychologist. Is it specifically sport, or is it performance in other areas, or what?
Like, I suppose, it's not just sport, but like you find yourself getting calls off all sorts of people. You sit down and meet them, and look, it's not probably a full-time role, so I kind of have a bit of a few other bits that I do with, like, I work with 2 charities that work with teenagers, Aware, and I work with SOAR Foundation, who the Tony Griffin, the Clare hurler, set them up. It was kind of inspired by Jim Stein's story over in Melbourne. So they do excellent work. So I do a lot of work with them, and my own little business. So it's kind of it's nice. It's I'm kept busy now. I took it down a little bit for the summer, and I'm back rocking.
Do you have people ringing you about, I'm struggling in work, I want to climb up the ladder and work, I want to focus on that? It's everything of people wanting to achieve more than they're getting at the moment? Yeah, essentially, and it's mental skills training or life skills or whatever it is. So coaching sometimes, but so there's a bit of that. I'm kept busy, and it's good variety as well. It's interesting to see when different people's stories and stuff like that. I love it, And is that full time eventually, do you think? It could be. I'll see what happens. It's been perfect while I've been playing, and I'm upskilling, and I've been able to do a college course each year or some sort of personal development alongside what I'm doing, alongside like playing and stuff like that. So I think when I do pack it in, I'll be able to hit the ground running and see what's next. Temple basketball, was that what you were? Yeah, that was my first. That was my first team actually when I got out of college, and my next door neighbour Ronan played for me. He was the backup point guard for years, but he said, "Would you come down?" And I just met Mark Keenan, and I just got a lot out of him. So I was volunteering with them for 2 years. I still did a session with them before the Champions Cup last year. So I still know the lads. I haven't seen them yet this year, but I would stay in touch with Mark a lot. I have a lot of time for Mark. Yeah, he's good. Yeah, he's class. So I loved it. Now I was kind of cutting my teeth. I did a few sessions where I'm looking back thinking, geez, what was I saying to them? Like, you know what I mean? But I met them all 1-to-1, and the first year when they went up to when they won the All Ireland or the league, the cup. The cup was, I think it was 2016. Yeah. Their first cup, and that was a massive one. I loved that one because I don't know. I remember Dublin were playing Kerry that night in the league game, and I was injured, so I went to the basketball game. And I don't know, I loved the idea. Now at the same, I remember the final whistle blowing and going, there's nothing like playing, like, you know what I mean? Like, I was like kind of there going, like, I loved it, and I felt it. Must have got a good buzz because they went from being a good team, and they were really good for that period that you're involved in them. So they've got great players and all, but obviously all that stuff helps. Like, from looking at it from what we do in Tralee, to have someone like you being a sports psychologist for a basketball team and helping them just to get the best out of themselves, because you would have seen it, I'm sure, it's not up there professional levels as the GAA is with Dublin and Kerry. It's trying to get there, like, but I saw that as I remember seeing you at the end of the bench in a game in Temple Lowe, kind of going, Jesus, these fellas are they're a bit, how did they get him? And I'm back home kind of going, what do we need to do more of to get, because you're trying to explain to fellas who are eating Supermax on the way to Dublin before a game. Do you know what I mean? It's just, and that's the way they are, and it's, it's just the way, it's not in there, it's at a lovely level where it's not too serious. We play the Dublin boys every week in Tralee. We go out after them. We start them out with a deal in a hotel in Tralee. We all go to the Greyhound bar after the game, drinks all around, killing each other on the court. Yeah. But good friends off it and able to kind of get on with each other. Whereas we kind of lost that in the football. We never had that where we wanted to meet you afterwards and have a pint with you after beating us. But the old boys did. The old Kerry teams, and they've got such a great relationship between them two teams. I always kind of felt, we'll never have that because it's gone so serious and it's gone so, and I love that about the basketball. Did you have it on All-Star trips and Ireland trips? Irish teams, absolutely, yeah. Irish teams, that's where you're with guys, they're on your team. There's a kind of a sense you're playing with Ireland, you're going to have to bring it together. But then I found out, like, Jesus, Joe McMahon 2008 with his beard roaring, and me and Tommy Walsh's face, and then Abbas in the final, and next time I'm outside, and I have to hang out with this guy. 3 weeks later, I'm coming home. Like, I find out I went to school with him in Tyrone for a year. He thinks the very same as me about games. All of a sudden we're talking about Australia. It's kind of all coming in, and we find out, really, having a few pints with him, then boys are sound. But they have that thing on the pitch where it's do or die, and that's the way it is. But the basketball seems to have that kind of, and even the whole link with you, even Mark Ingle going in with you, J.O., basketball written all over you, icy. I don't know how much you would have talked about. Well, I got a lot out of it, even just watching games. That year I watched pretty much every game, and
there is a tactical thing, but even momentum and stuff like that, you see, like the basketball, it's just wild, like, you know what I mean? I felt that was half the thing that I was talking about with the lads, is controlling, the Temple Oak lads, controlling momentum. And I remember joking in one of the sessions saying I thought it was a referee's coach because they get so pissed off at the refs.
I know.
And like, there's 3 refs or whatever it is, and I remember just kind of like trying to calm them down. No, I'm all good. But so like, it's a fascinating sport, and there's so, like you say, there's so many crossovers between Gaelic football, and we've probably robbed a few. It's probably been a bit exaggerated a little bit, but there is, and you can see it from how you guys play as well. You know, it's big.
The backdoor cut.
Huh?
The backdoor cut that you're at is it's a key one it's a key one in basketball, but you've mastered it to a level where it's deadly.
Well, that goal out of it, his timing is excellent.
He's kind of just acting disinterested, falling out and gone.
Yeah. So, and I remember speaking to a couple of cornerbacks this year about how you defend it, and you don't. You know, you have to actually let them win the ball out in front of you. So it's kind of an extra weapon that you're worried about. You know. Is
that the one where Lee Keegan slips?
Yeah, that was one as well. He got one as well for the lead up for the penalty, I think, against Roscommon. But it's in basketball, if a guy's overplaying you and you're kind of looking for the ball, and he's high defending. If he's low defending, he's here, you can get the ball easy. He's high defending, you cut back door. It's something that's done a lot, but wouldn't have seen too much of it. And they have the obvious loop ones and passing and screening for each other, and that's, you know, teams have been doing that for a while. Individual players would have been doing that for a while, whereas, you know, and it's Con's power and pace obviously helps. If I'm out there back cutting, you know, I'm not leaving guys for dead and going in over the top and scoring goals, but it's the threat of someone overplaying you, you know, and there's a lot of guys overplaying these good forwards now, so they've come up with a kind of a good weapon, but it's the understanding of the guy outside to know that if someone's overplaying you, that you have to go back door.
Kilkenny's pass.
There was one of them in the drawn game where I was running down the right hand side and Costello was out on the wing and Morley was playing him from the front, and I was kind of waiting, and I bottled it because I was like it was in closing time.
7 minutes.
It was 74 minutes or something, and we needed a shot. And I was like, if this thing goes early, I was going to kick it down the line. And I says, I didn't risk it now, and I think he just came on the loop. Now it was about 30 yards from goal, but it'd be in your mind, like, you know. So,
but it's to have it.
Yeah, he was having a go at me. Having, when you give me that, I was in around the back. Morley, for fairness, played it very well. He was tight to, like, he was gambling, cutting it off. Like, you know.
So bring us back to that claustrophobia, because that was the most tense sports event that I've ever been at and ever seen and ever borne witness to, where 5 in a row is on the line, you're down to 14 men, you've a lead the whole game until the very end, and then a chance goes missing, another chance goes missing, another chance goes missing, and it's like, normally by now this Dublin team would have, like, they got it back to the level, and maybe they'd be the ones who'd be point up. What's the claustrophobia like for you guys on the pitch?
Yeah, it was wild, you're right, and I suppose I was delighted when I come on that I didn't feel any of that, because it was in my mind leading up to it. It was like, am I going to be a little bit, you know, if I'm on for 10 minutes, am I going to be in the future a little bit thinking, what are we going to do if we win or lose, you know? But very, very in the moment at the time, I was delighted after the match that we got away with it, but it was wild, the noise, like usually I like, you don't hear too much of it, but I remember just being absolutely wrecked. And I was only thinking, the most I'd ran for the whole game on the sideline was about 7 or 8 seconds, and the very first play I had was 45 seconds of legging it, you know what I mean? And I literally was finished. This was on probably the stroke of 70 minutes. So it was a big learning for me. I was running around the replay, I was running around the dressing room like an absolute nutcase at half time, trying to waste all this energy I'd been building up, you know what I mean? But it was wild. Didn't really get to the pace with a stitch, not a stitch, but I was wrecked pretty much for the whole time I was on, like trying to move the whole time. But
because that's mad, because like there's a clear, when the subs start to come on, it looks like there's a clear change in the energy, like Kerry go into their shells a little bit, but you definitely bring this injection, it seems from the outside, of fresh legs, and exactly what the Dubs needed, because they'd been down to 14 men for so long.
Yeah, and look, I was itching on the bench, kind of thinking 14 men, obviously we're going to need bodies, like, you know, and look, we were held back for one reason or another that day, but yeah, look, that would be part of it. You're always saying, listen, how can I how can I make it worth me while to have come into it? You know what I mean? Like, how can I waste as much energy as I can, or use as much energy as I can, while I get my chance, you know? And like, it was in fairness to, you know, Dermo that day came on, won a bit of ball, did well. Costello was the same. Merchant the same, Paddy Small, so we needed it that day as well.
Yeah, you've a turnover, key turnover against David Moran, because at that stage, I think, am I wrong? Is this when Cluxon is actually pushed out and is
yeah, we did that in Sky. James McCarthy realises that there's 4 Kerry attackers and 3 defenders. You're 74 minutes right before your turnover. Is that something that would have been talked about? Or is that guys on the pitch kind of going?
It's just in the Kerry half.
Yeah, it was like
Cluxon comes out and marks.
Yeah, James calls him out. James James kind of goes back and calls him out. We went through it and with the behind the goals footage from the Sky camera, and you could see James come out, and Stephen was already kind of out. It was like they reminded each other almost of this is. And I was like, it's something they have to have talked about. If we're down to 14 men, if we're changing a game, if we're chasing a game, and you need the ball back, you can't have 3 men running around the place.
Yeah, no, I would say that one would be an unwritten rule that when you're going after it, you're pushing up. So instead of, and a lot of the teams, and it's one of the things that annoys me a lot of time when teams are ahead in the game, is that they just go, okay, back, and give you the kick out and give you, you know,
give the spot.
So that was, I think, the idea that, like, I think Shane Ryan had gone short into the corner, so we were kind of saying, like, we were trying to get up.
Get it up, yeah.
So that would make sense, I suppose, that they might have an extra man. But yeah, that was a nice one. I remember because Moran created the winner in the league game down in Tralee. And I was the one who was supposed to be marking him.
All right.
I was the one that was on him. He stuck behind me. I was kind of in my head. I was running back after him. I was like, I'm not going to let this fella do it again, you know. So, yeah, it was just blessed we got away with it that day, you know.
What is that changing room like immediately after the game? What happens?
Look, I was relieved. Like, I was just delighted that we hadn't lost it, that we had another go at it. It was a bit weird, like, you know, it was a bit of an anticlimax. You went back to the Gibson Hotel and you're there and you're eating a steak dinner, kind of going, they cooked these this morning for us, like, we better eat a real fancy dinner, like, after the match. And just keeping the head down. My overwhelming thing was relief, you know, because, like, we could have easily been taken down that day, you know.
We were looking at the stats. I think it's 9 shots from outside the scoring zone, which is very unusual for Dublin, who have this incredible scoring efficiency. You know, you tend not to kick that many wides. You tend to take shots from where it looks like you're going to score. What was the level of pressure like beforehand? What did the 5 in a row ultimately mean?
Yeah, it became fairly noisy, like, leading into the final. All right, like, you kind of inoculate yourself from it a little bit. And look, we tried to take the approach that, look, chasing a number isn't what's gotten us 4, if that makes sense. You know, what's gotten us 4 is keeping the head down next game and that sort of stuff. So it sounds a bit boring, but that's what we tried to do.
Does it work though? Like, because the first one is obviously so big, and then the second one, and then everybody settles into this pattern. But this is history, and, like, no team in hurling or football has done it. We've seen famous examples of it failing before, and everybody's chatting to you, I presume. Even the ones who are trying
to do the 5. I've got it so often, like just people walking up to you and say, will you do the 5? You know, during the summer. And you're kind of going, yeah, I'll see what happens type thing. Are you going to autopilot?
You're going to autopilot with that answer, It's like when you're injured and fellas resting.
But it's like everyone outside the group wants you to think of number 5, and we wanted to just think 1, whatever's next type thing, you know. So, but it does probably impact you subconsciously somewhere. Now, did it lead to us underperforming that day? We underperformed a little bit. We had a good shot score ratio up until the last 7 or 8 minutes in that game, in the drawn game. So I wouldn't kind of put it down to that.
No, and there's a sense of desperation as well. Like, you're a point down. These fellas are trying to kick the equalising score. Like, Howard's one, he can kick that on the outside of the boot. Dearman's one was splitting the black spot for ages and just tailed off. You know, they're guys that can kick them scores. They're a point down. They've got an opportunity.
Costello goes over the top
exactly,
of it.
Like, you're talking millimetres. Exactly, and it cracks me up with Hawkeye that this, you know, it just skims the red thing, and that means if the post is going that high, it's going to hit the post and go over the bar, like, do you know what I mean? So,
and what are you guys thinking when the misses are happening?
Like, I wasn't really dwelling on it, to be honest with you. I don't know what, like, the feeling in the team was just get the ball back, I think, and it was a good defensive performance in the last whatever it was, 7-8 minutes and maybe last 10 minutes. But yeah, get the ball back. Kind of, there was no kind of eyes up to heaven going, Jesus, this. Are we cursed here, or is this? It was just get the ball back, I suppose.
Yeah. So. In the conversations afterwards, I saw Jack McCaffrey talking about just feeling a bit sickened the next day. He'd cleaned his locker out and was going home and was like, this is finished now, I'm going to close this part of the year up. And then the next day he was like, oh geez, I can't face going training. And then he missed training because of work during that week. And he's ringing Jim going, I'm going to be late. And it's like, I'm not going to make it. And it took him a little while to get back to the whole notion of we've got to go again. What was your in between like? Yeah,
I had to cancel a bit of work now as well. Like, it was a bit annoying in that sense. But I thought I have a chance here to start. That's what I was thinking, to be honest with you. I felt I was playing well enough to be in. I didn't start the game all year, so it probably wasn't. It was probably more hope rather than dreaming rather than
change between the first game and the second game. Like when you're going.
And I was kind of thinking it'd be a good little surprise to throw at them. Maybe throw me out centre forward or something like that and shift things around. But
did you tell Jim that?
I did. Yeah. I told him that. Yeah, that I thought I should have been in. But
how does that conversation go? Come on, what are you talking? Look, come on.
It's kind of laughing, going, geez, I thought I was doing enough, because I played really well this summer. Like, it was one of the things I was happy about how the year went. I didn't get much minutes on the pitch, very frustrating and all, like, but like felt really loose, felt really like, clear-headed and stuff, and I was playing really well in the training games. And I had one training game, I think it was before the Roscommon game or before the Super 8s. It was the first game. I had a Cork game. And I hadn't been missing in months, and I was 3-4 points a game in training, and I'd about, this day I think I had 3 out of 8 or something like that. And it was a bit of it was like, shit, like, you could have got 6 points from play off Johnny or Fitzy or something like that. And suddenly Jim was going, okay, well, hold on a minute, this is, so that that was a bit of it was bugging me a little bit, that I wasn't far from cracking in, but it is what it is. Look, you just say, Jim, what's the crack? There's no point looking for feedback the night before the replay, but the night before the replay. But look, you can challenge him on it and go, listen, what do you think? I think you're making the wrong decision, and I've said that to him a few times. But look, at the end of the day, he's winning games, and he always puts the team first, and he uses as much evidence as he can to back up his decisions, so you have to accept that,
Yeah, so it's straightforward. It's not straightforward for you when you're on the wrong side of it, but at least there's empirical evidence going into it. Are those training games 15 on 15 when you're marking Johnny or?
Yeah, it would be, yeah.
Yeah, I just want to play you this, because this is Bernard yesterday talking to Joe about that time in between the final and the replay, about how he worked his way back into the 26. He talks about learning from Conor himself. Have a look.
I felt my role this year, or the last couple of years, would be the pivot man, as in give the ball, pop it off to a Conor or Mannion, and be that kind of that anchor and fusk forward or corner forward, and be creative and see the gaps, which I felt that I could offer, and it just wasn't resonating, I think, with management. I wasn't showing whatever that. And actually the Saturday before the All-Ireland, I said, do you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to take a leaf out of Conor Callahan's book, and I'm going to put the head down, and I'm going to just go for it. Like,
right.
So the first 4 balls that came in, I took my man on and got four scores. Or Owen O'Gara and me and Owen moved together a couple of times, and we ended up like in 8 balls. We got 6 points between us.
Right.
Like, and Deems and Cybulus, I think we just for 15 minutes, 20 minutes, we just were on fire. Like, and my head was like, why haven't I been doing this all year? Like, back, maybe I was starting to doubt myself, but I should have just been doing what I always did, like goal getter, putting the head down and going for it. So,
but that must have been a sweet moment that, like, actually I can still sort of do this. I'm not deluding myself here at the moment.
Yeah, almost. Like that was for me was the magic of the year, and that's why I could sit happier, having not played in the final, because I'd done it then in my head. That was this year I got it. Obviously injured last year. Can I compete? Can I be?
Yes.
Can I be up there with the level likes of Mannion and Con and these lads and Dino, and who are sensational footballers, and the rest of the lads are there, but I didn't feel like I was there. I felt like I was a gap between us. And then
you don't want to be like you're along for the ride.
Yeah, and I wasn't, and I was pushing on. And that Saturday, I felt I was toe to toe with them.
Good.
those training sessions sound pretty good.
Yeah, I remember he was electric that day. In fairness to him, he did a great year, Bernard, from an attitude and a selfless point of view. It's something I told him once or twice how much I admired him this year, because he wasn't getting the bang for the buck what he was putting in, but he still had a few moments of magic. And like, I noticed that day, because I actually didn't play that day. I missed the first half of the training. It was a little bit of a bang, but he was electric, and it was like that he let the shackles off, and he wasn't trying to be the smart player. He was like trying to be Bernard of old, and it was great. It was great to see. So he just didn't get game time as a result, but like, he was right there in the mixer.
It's fairly cutthroat, because the players he's talking about, that's former footballer of the year Bernard Brogan, who looks like he's in the shape of his life, and he can't make the matchday squad for the All-Ireland final because the competition is so fierce. What's that like when you're because the team is all important, and the team has this kind of great collective understanding of how to win a game, how to close out a game, and how to press when they need to press, but you also need to look after yourself to be an individual to get in the team.
Yeah, and I suppose, look, when you start doing that, and I'm sure you'd spot it a mile off, is like, you can see people who are playing for themselves as well, like, and look, it's never probably been mentioned, but I'm sure people haven't been brought on match day panels because of that, or haven't been picked because of it. So look, you can spot it a mile off if people are saying, you know what, I have a 50%er out here, but there's a fella at top of the D with a 90%er, and I don't slip it, I go for it, Even if you scored, you can still say. So look, there is a bit of that, and look, I probably would have pulled a bit of that for myself. There's times when I'm trying to look for the best pass too often as well. You know what I mean? You're kind of getting a bit caught up in possession, whereas actually, if you were a bit more instinctive, the shot was on, go for it. But then the opportunity might have passed because you were, trying to be too at the head up. Like, for years, I was growing up, I was a glory hunter of the worst degree. It was like, get the ball. I remember telling one of my mates when I was about 18 that I thought passing was a offloading responsibility, and so that when I got the ball, my responsibility was to beat 3 players and bang it over the bar. And I remember playing intermediate with Judes, and this fella took me aside in the bar, and he goes like, do you want to play for Dublin? Like, and I was like, yeah. And he just goes, will you ever pass the ball? Like, you know what I mean? And it was a big thing. I remember one night our manager, Pádraig Monaghan, used to say, you can't score in training. Right. And at around 17, 18, and I was like, what? What do you mean I can't score? I'm a scorer, like, you know what I mean? And but it was as frustrating as it was. It would open me up a lot, but to getting the chin up and having a look to see what passes are on. I think that was one of the biggest changes from the start to the end. I'm not at the end just yet, but to where I am now, is that I can be a lot more creative and see a lot more than maybe I did when I was younger. And coming onto the Dublin team would, naturally accelerates that,
You're not at the end just yet.
It's a good... No.
That's official, you're definitely not retiring.
Yeah.
Was there any thoughts with it, James?
No. What's the answer? No, yes. No, look, I love it. Like, you know what I mean? I'm body's in great shape. I have a better lifestyle now than I did when I was, starting games, and I was, one of the first forwards on the team sheet. And when I was in what I say, my peak, but I'm physically, I was lighter. I was trimmer this year than I ever was, and look, I just love it, So I'll see what happens with work.
You're 32, but play away, mate. Play away, mate. You're 32.
Exactly, yeah. Like, I was talking to my dad last night. My dad stopped playing when he was 43, and was like, "Jeez, you'll never replace it." Like, you know what I mean? Like, he's like, keep rolling, like, So
he 11 more years for you of senior.
Yeah, no, maybe not with Dublin.
There's 2 more to get before they pass out the Ger Powers and the Pats Blends and these fellas. So there's another few years in them yet.
Is that a motivation?
Is Pat's Bland my motivation?
The records?
No, not really. Look, I've never spoken about it with any of the players. Popped up in my head maybe once or twice. I don't know if I'll be around for 2 or 3 more years, or if I'll be lucky enough to play a Super 8 or a semi or a final. I've played 9 finals, which is, someone told me there last week, which is, I can't believe it. Like, 2 draws and stuff like that, and I'm so proud of that as a career. And look, I'll keep rolling for as long as I can. I'll probably chat to Jim before the start of the year in December and go, what do you think? Like, do you want me to keep rolling? I suppose I do have a role on the team as a senior player, and I take that very seriously.
What does that involve?
Look, I suppose it involves just being part of, you know, making sure the team is rolling the way it should be. You know what I mean?
Like there was people saying this year like that, you know, the Dublin subs aren't coming on and scoring 4 goals between them and blowing, you know, coming on and just being juggernauts and blowing teams away. But I think the hallmark of this Dublin team, the change over from this winning Dublin team to the team that we would have played in my early career, is decision making. Okay. And your decision making as a group is always for Dublin, and you were on about it there, the passing and all that is a huge part of it. That early on when we were playing Dublin, there was always a fella that would go for that shot that you're talking about, that 50% or when there was a 90% or outside, but you flip that around and every decision you make is for the team. And I felt when you were coming on, you mightn't have been killing the scoreboard or just burying teams of goals, but your decision making, your sureness on the ball, your experience late on in games, there's nothing better for a team to have guys to go to that's going to see out the game, and you know that's not going to make a mistake, not going to make a decision for themselves, not going to do anything silly. So like there's huge value in that, along with the brilliant footballers that they have and brilliant footballers that they are. Their decision making, I think, is crucial for seeing that over the line. The decision making in those last, you know, they're making decisions to chase a fella, making decisions to bring a goalie out. They're all experienced guys making huge decisions that are the difference between winning and losing. And I think that's, you know, huge. It's a huge factor for this Dublin team and its success over the time is decision making, and one of the key reasons and late game changers. So don't for 1 second be, in my eyes, play as long as you can.
You've got you're talking yourself into coming out of retirement.
I am, my arse, no, but I played till I was 35. I was playing basketball, not playing any league football, doing all the gym work with the boys, staying in shape and coming back fresh. No, I don't know if that's
hard work. Missing out in the league, was it there? Like, or would you probably came back full of life then?
I came back like it was like I was so fresh.
Yeah, okay.
So fresh. Because I don't know.
Because I know Mick played a bit last year with Clostane, and he came back full. He loved it. Like, you know, Mick McCauley played a small bit, and
it's not even like the basketball is one thing, but it's the actual break away from
the intensity of the sport
and the slog because let's call a spade. Like the early days in the league are wet nights, cold nights, running up hills. It's a bit of a slog. So if you can find a way to get your, as you say, the best shape you've been in come championship time, it's a big one to have.
I have a couple more questions. We're here with SuperValu GA Ambassador Kevin McManamon on OTB AM this morning. It's 8:44. Do you think Jim is coming back?
I think so, yeah. I don't know. I believe he signed a couple of years. People are saying because he smiled or something that he's given up. Like, I don't know. I'd say he's still be floating around. Jimmy, his dad, was on the pitch. I'd say he will. I haven't spoke to him about it. But look, it was a big effort this year, and look, he works harder than anyone in that group, you know. And I know he's probably watched more football this summer than anyone, you know, maybe like Peter Keane down there. I don't know how much he watches or you know, James Horan or whoever it is, but Jim studies the game and knows his opposition, knows his team, and he works so hard. So look, fair play to him if he wants to keep rolling, if he wants to work that hard. It kind of turns me off ever wanting to be manager, because I'm like, there's no way I could actually work that hard and put that much hours and that much love into the sport, because that's what it takes to actually work that hard, you know. So I'd say he will, but I don't know.
Yeah, okay. Well, we'll probably know soon enough, I'd say, because if there is going to be a replacement, now would be the time. But at the same time, no one's going to rush Jim out or give him a deadline, because like ultimately the achievement is going to last forever.
They're probably begging him to stay and sign another 10-year contract.
I want to show you this photograph. So this is from 2011. This is a screen grab from the game. The scoreboard hasn't even changed yet. If we can stick this one up here. So Cluxton's just kicked the point. You're turning away there, Kieran.
Yeah, I know where it's going.
Yeah. So it's over the bar. He's running.
I could do without this on a Wednesday morning.
I know. Tommy outside is good for that crack. Look at the smile in his face outside. Look at him. He loves that crack.
The hill haven't even stood up properly yet.
There's plenty of them standing up. Look at them up there by
they're just getting their arms up. The rest of them are about
You'd have to watch it going over Clucko, wouldn't you? Like, he's booted it and he just turned like fair play.
But he knows, like, he kicks it so laser straight that he knows it is.
Yeah.
And he knows that he's however many yards, however long it took him to walk up to take it.
Where were you at that stage?
I think I was like left half forward watching it, and I remember just going, please go over the bar, because you had that thing in 2011. I remember backing, like, I used to be backing matches, like, and I used to back against you, and you'd always find a way to win games. I remember quarter-finals against Monaghan, and you know, the Galway won that year, and a few games you'd always get away with it. And I remember thinking, I looked at 72 minutes, like, they'll get an equaliser here, you know. So that's what was going on in my head, like. And then he blew the whistle. It was heaven, man, you know. But
he blew the whistle, all right. Fucking hell. It's like, Joe, surely would have got it. He'll give us a chance to equalise, like another big payday for the GA. Kerry Dublin replay. Come on, Joe. Give us a chance here to get down the pitch.
It's gas. There's only 2 minutes extra time.
I know.
Like, when you think about it, whatever it was 7 or 8, I think, in both finals this year. And since then, in most finals I've played, it's been 7 or 8 minutes.
I'm glad, though, that they're doing that, because it's the right amount of time, and you know, I think it cuts out a lot of time wasting teams were doing, because they're like, there's no point in doing it now because they're just going to play 7 or 8 minutes. But then you could do all the time wasting you want, because you knew it was going to be 3, maybe 4 max. So teams were.
The last 10 minutes of that All-Ireland final are mayhem, and that's a Dublin team who has got close and got close and got close, but always just not been good enough to get over the line. You had been accused of being chokers up to that point, and you were always going to be accused of being chokers, because we're very good with narratives. We don't like nuance. This is straightforward. They should have beaten Cork. They should have. And then in a situation which is all set up for a team to choke against one of the greatest teams of all time, you don't.
Be seen as be acceptable, maybe.
Exactly, Sure, that's grand. Look at the team that they have. It's Galvin, it's Gooch, it's the O'Shea's, it's your man. But you didn't. What was the difference?
Look, I suppose Pat had definitely instilled a resilience in us. That, look, I don't know what it was. I started in 2010. I never played under a pillar or in the first year where with these guys beat us in the quarter-final by 17 points. I wasn't there, but he did instill a resilience that we'd worked harder. And I remember reviewing the league final, and it was like a tattoo on my head about staying in a game, you know. And we were 8 points up with 20 minutes to go against Cork, and I remember thinking I'd 5 points from play, and I was flying that day, and I was thinking I'm home and dry, and my first national trophy, and you know, might win man the match and all this sort of stuff. Like,
I'd forgotten that. That's the same year. That's 2011.
That was 2011, and I just remember there was probably, if everyone in our review, I think if everyone spoke, they would have admitted that they were all there. They were all on the Hogan stand already, and we were 8 up, and we lost the last 10 minutes 10-1 against Cork, who were, I think, they were the champions at the time. And that was a big learning for us. That was a kind of a tattoo that, we lost a bit of focus, and what are we going to do when we're not going to be 8 up in a final against Kerry of 50 minutes, or when we're 2 or 3 down with 10 minutes to go. It's the same premise involved. Like, stick with it. Don't go there. It'd be tempting to go to, you know, geez, the dinner would be great crack tonight now for beating or whatever it is. So we just tried to stay in it as much as we could.
It's mindfulness.
Mindfulness, 100%. It's going to be, that's the new wave in
Jesus, I don't know what mindfulness is going on with that 10 minutes now. It's fairly helter-skelter, that 10 minutes. There's a lot going on. There's a lot going on. There's literally, it's inches, it's a break, it's a loose ball, it's something so small.
Tommy's got the last 10 minutes written down. Barry John Keane hits the post, 62 minutes. Gooch with a dummy point.
That was going straight over the bar.
It stops curling. That happens into that goal.
63.5 your goal. Kevin Nolan gets a point a minute afterwards. Connolly gets a turnover, 67 minutes. MDMA hits a wide at 68 minutes. You get a point in the 69th minute. There's a throw ball in the 70th. You get fouled for Cluxton's free that he scores, and then immediately the full-time whistle goes. It is mayhem.
The throw ball was a big one, because I started cramping. I played wing forward that day on James McCarthy for the first 15 minutes, and then I went inside. But I started kind of cramping on that kick for the equaliser, and on the hot ball, Fennell's a big strong guy, but I don't know. We we didn't talk about it. It wasn't, but we weren't around the ball. You know, we were back in the game. There's a hot ball. Whether I win it or whether he wins it, you need to be in on top of it. Whether it breaks, you need to be in on top of it. But I look back on it like we were outnumbered around that ball. Like he knocked it, and I don't know, someone came in and got it. But like Ger came in and got it. But like you kind of go back to a moment in it and kind of go, this is a hot ball. The game's level, a minute to go. Like, why not have, you know, as many as you can in around the, like, really, you know the way, like in the hurling when they're trying to throw it in.
1,600 people around it. Like,
yeah. Exactly, like it's the biggest.
It's a melee.
It's the biggest joke. Like the ref is going, go back. Yeah, there's nobody going back. I'll throw it in between the 2V. Whereas in football, when they say go back, everybody kind of goes back. But that was a real instance to say, I'm not going. But like, what's he going to do? Give a free against you for not going back?
Yeah.
Get in around the ball. But like you're talking about. It is so helter skelter that whole moment, like the goal, the surge from the crowd after that.
That was wild.
Yeah, it's like, you know, that's 55,000, probably 60, because all the neutrals in the stadium aren't shouting for Kerry at that stage. We've been to 6 finals in 7 years. They're like, mind Kerry up to Dubs. So the roar when the goal goes in.
Changed a little bit since.
It's gone opposite now. All the neutrals were shouting for us the last day, which was great. I said never before in our lives that we have so many neutrals shouting for Kerry. It was rivaled by the last 10 minutes of the game. The drawn game.
Yeah. How do you not go mad after that? The noise and the wildness of scoring that goal and ending such a long famine. How, on a personal level?
I did. Yeah, it's gas how it's changed. Like, I probably was out for 3 or 4 nights a week for three months a day, right, until we got back. I put on 2 stone. I swear to God. Right. So, it was.
So was it also the best time of your life?
It was excellent. Now I was going out every night. I don't really enjoy the gargle as much as I did back then. I was young and stuff like, and it was wild. It was wild. And look, I remember going away. We would, like, team holiday in December. I went to New York for 2 weeks to visit my mate over there, and I was chilling out, work. Stuff was just, we were just getting texts going, come on, we're going here, and it was new for all of us. We just felt we had to be there. So, look, things have changed. That was, like, I used to love there. Yeah, there we go. I was a bit heavier back then than I was now, but I came back in. The lads still have a picture of me in 2012 in the O'Byrne Cup, and I had about 4 chins, you know. But I had a great off season that year. But it has never been like that since. You know, it was the first one is a big one. You know, 5
is obviously big, but is the first one still better than is this different now? What's the?
It's hard to know. Look, I was 24. What age was I? Yeah, 25 maybe, and. You know,
it is the time of your life, really.
It was the time to go and enjoy myself, really. Like I said, I was any excuse to take a few days off from driving around delivering meat, like, you know.
There wasn't too much meat delivered.
There wasn't, no, for a while. So, yeah, look, it was a different one this year, absolutely. But I suppose, like, I remember it because, you know, getting a goal in an All-Ireland final. I remember I'd been out in my backyard and doing the commentary and, you know, talking myself through it, and
then it happens.
Yeah, it was wild. It was a lovely moment, to be honest with you. It was something I'll never forget, and I probably won't be able to forget it either, to be honest with you.
Yeah, well, I mean, you did do it again a couple of years later in the semi-final. Mm-hmm. Well, did you mean that?
I did, yeah.
Yeah, that's grand, because there was a bit of a debate earlier on about that.
Is there? Yeah,
there was.
What do you think?
I thought you meant it.
Did you? Okay.
I thought you were trying to chip it over. Huh? I thought you were trying to chip it over to go 2 up.
I wanted to pass it, and then at the last minute I was like, because I remember thinking in the lead up to that game, if we get a goal chance now, don't try and be a hero, like, you know, because it'll be a fairy tale because you've done it before and it's Kerry and all. I was like, just make the right decision, and, you know, if you chip it or pass to the right man in the best position. And the 2 lads, it was Brosnan. I was at Brosnan.
Yeah, they did kind of well. They were kind of.
They did, and I was like, have a go at the crossbar. So I didn't go to lob the keeper, but I tried to keep it down. You know.
Yeah.
So you don't know what you're not saying. Put this in the top corner, but you're kind of saying.
That's McCauley winning the ball to set you through.
Yeah, he did really well. I think it was 2. I was marking Mark O'Shea, and I kind of
slipped him.
Well, I went in. as if I was going for the break, and I went out the back, and so yeah, Mick, I always thank him for that one. But yeah, I wanted to slip it, and I don't know what you'd be saying to yourself. You don't say, okay, I'm gonna
have you had
hit this with the inside of the foot. And
have you had the slow down moments where things actually slow down?
Yeah,
I've had a few times.
But maybe these kind of white moments or being in the zone. Where, yeah. I
had one in basketball and a 2 or 3 in football where literally it's like
they say the
tricks kind of
rewards for years of hard work. Happened to me in a club game once. I scored 3-5, and I was literally like, I couldn't miss. Like, I was
I'm talking about more on the actual moment that you're going through there, and you're just about to drop it onto your foot, or even your first goal when you're dropping it onto your right leg. Did it kind of slow down around you when you're making that decision? I don't know. It's a kind of hard one to explain.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Not in those cases. No, there's just been times where I've been like, I feel like I've enough time to decide here what I want to do and figure it out. But these kind of white moments. But no, 13 was legging it and just whack it. Crossbar was in my head.
Keeper's off his line, quite far. Yeah. Did you know that?
No, don't mistake this for like genius or anything. I just was running through, and I just whacked it But I didn't want to kick it 20 yards above the bar. I was trying to keep that trajectory a bit low and see what happens.
Yeah, it's a goal chance you're going to have.
He's playing crossbar challenge. He's playing crossbar.
I hit the bar and it went wide.
Yeah, it lost. I got to ask you about Diarmuid Connolly's return, because Bernard Brogan was talking about it last night. Are we going to play the clip? Do you want to play the clip? Yeah, we'll play the clip. Here it is. So here's.
Well, I'd say the Diarmuid Connolly one was a tough one for him, because you're weighing up a lot. Like, he's looking at you busting your ass for 2 years, not getting much game time. Diarmuid could be, off in Boston, but then you got to do what's right for the team.
Yeah, and he felt that was the right thing to give the team a bit of an extra angle. That's his decision as manager. Like, he's just trying to get what's best out of there.
How do you feel about that one?
It was tough for me. Like, it's not a direct. He didn't take my exact place, but he took a place on the bus, and then a place in the team. So in theory, it's another body in the way of me. But I've kind of gone past the personal. Like, I've had the days of personal glory. You know what I mean? Yeah, you want to be definitely want to be involved in the bus. Like, it's a tough place to be. Been left at home. But as long as the team gets over the line, it'll all be forgotten about in time. Like, as long as you can say, as long as you know that you've added something, I feel that I'm comfortable with that. My dad left Dublin in I think in 1983. He told me a story, and he got a box off an off-free full back. He caught one ball, popped it off for a goal, and he kind of gave a man a bit of a shoulder. And what do you think of that? My dad was ageing, and he was building the forward line around him, and the next ball that came in, he caught the ball and woke up in Vincent's Hospital. Your man clocked him. I don't know who it was. It was Sean Lowry or one of those lunatics. But and he said that he got a call a couple of weeks later looking for the jersey that he had. He'd just given it to the nurse or wherever. He took it off, and he don't think the management called him or something like that. And he kind of stayed with him for a while, and he kind of just said, whatever you do when you finish up, don't hold grudges, and don't hold something. If you've something to say it. If you feel like something to say.
Yeah, it seems like it was difficult for Bernard because he didn't get his place in the matchday squad. But was that not more to do with Pat O'Coffey-Byrne getting on the bench because Fenton had an injury? Was that not really why he didn't make the bench the first day? I don't know.
I think Pat O'Coffey probably earned his place there rather than anything else. I think he'd been playing really well. Like, he'd been going toe to toe with Fenton. So I don't know. I didn't hear about his injury. But,
all right, well, you would know more than I do.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, what's the question? Why Bernard wasn't?
Well, no, it was about Connolly coming back. Was it? What was the? Because I think everybody has their own take on if you're a defender and suddenly Connolly arrives back in and you're going up against him every night and you're getting sharper and sharper, it's good for the team. If you're a forward who might be getting a little bit less game time because Connolly's coming back, it's a more personal impact.
Yeah, and look, it's just another thing. You have to decide what's more important. You or your ego or the team, and use it. I remember him coming back and going, like, I need to see if we can find another gear here to get ahead of him. So yeah, look, he got on ahead of me in both finals. Look, it is what it is. If it gives us a better chance of winning, that's what I always think is the best thing for the team.
Your ego is the thing that made you good as a kid. right? Like,
yeah.
So how do you suddenly then go?
Because you're going.
My ego has to be the thing that, like,
Dancing with my ego for my whole career, like, you know. But yeah, I think
You're going for
David
5 in a
Hickey
row,
was
though.
very good at it, like, you know, as well back in the day, and he used to read a lot of the Phil Jackson stuff about, like, you know, from the Chicago Bulls. You just have to put the team first, like, and he would always bring that up in every meeting, and it always stuck with me.
David Hickey,
Yeah.
the former great.
Yeah, he was a selector in 10, 11 and 12 and doctor then under Jim for a few years, but he left his mark on the team. But that would be always something that stuck with me. And look, yeah, your ego is piping up, but you know, what do you want more? Like, do you want...
The situation of the team probably too, though, Ger. Like, you know, you're going for 5 in a row. You know, if you were having won in All Ireland in 4 or 5 years, and all of a sudden this is happening, and you're kind of going, oh, hold on a minute. You might, you know, it might be a bigger deal. But I think when you're going for 5 in a row, it just becomes all-consuming just to win the All Ireland for Dublin, and you know, put that team first. Like, you know,
Easier said than done, though, right? If you're not getting
And
game time.
don't be wrong, like, you're out there and you get stuck into them, and you're trying to do your own bit and stuff. But look, he wasn't as if he was taking it easy for the time. He came back in good shape, and look, he's an athlete, he's well able to do it and stuff. So you know, let him at it. Like, and if it wasn't for you know, that ball he got in the last play that set up Dean Rocks free, like, Kerry could have won that drawing game. So, like,
Yeah.
even that is justification in itself. That one moment where he chased, was it Jonathan
Lyne.
Someone, yeah, and probably was on the border in terms of aggression, but he won the ball back, and
Yeah.
it meant we had the ball then, and we could look, just a minute left, okay, let's work something, rather than Kerry having the ball and are they going to shoot, because
Who knows what happens then?
you know,
And there's no extra time for that.
Yeah.
I didn't realise David Hickey had been so involved in the backroom team. So you kind of had when you came into the team, there's the grandees of Dublin football. There's Mickey Whelan and him injecting the culture and setting the basis for what comes afterwards. You guys are the next generation of grandees as well. Do you feel any kind of responsibility for that into the future as well, or is it too early yet for that to... maybe that's what your role is as a senior member.
Yeah, I do feel responsible to be. There's Davey, he's a legend, and Caroline, who would have gave me a big dig out over the years. But yeah, I would feel responsible in some way. Like, we talk a lot about our culture, and we do break that down into what it means to us, and how do we live it, and how do we make sure that that stays when we're not playing anymore and stuff like that. So that might be part of my role in the team and living it. But there's plenty of people. It's not just a few, a leadership group. It's the guys that pretty much played the final this year are all mid-20s type thing,
Yeah.
young players, and they're living it, so
Yeah.
that's what it's about.
One last great weekend for you. The homecoming is this Sunday.
Yeah.
I presume no one's working on Monday. There's like a proper...
I actually am working on
Are
Monday.
you?
Yeah. I'm after. I have this new thing I'm doing in schools. Richie Shadley used to do it, but I'm doing it in Benilda's now this year. So I'll be in there on Monday.
What are you doing?
I'm doing like mental fitness with fourth years. I'm just taking it for Mondays for the year.
Right.
So it's interesting. We didn't chat to the lads about stuff that's nothing to do with school,
Yeah.
About life skills and stuff like that. So no, I'll be in there on Monday. And yeah, look, we've had enough nights out, and I suppose Sunday mightn't be the best night for us, But yeah, it'll be good crowd. I'm playing music on Sunday night after it, so I won't be going to Parnell's. I'll have to break it to Stephen Cluxon. I'm sure he's not listening, so I'll text him and tell him I can't get down to Parnell's for the post celebration. But yeah, no, I'm looking forward to it. They're always nice days, It'll be a bit strange that you're not working on 2 hours sleep and being a bit giddy for the homecoming, but we'll see how it goes.
Well, so you tend to sing at these things. Are you going to sing this weekend?
I don't think so. I think it's kind of like every year I go up and say not a hope, and Marty Morrissey or something goes and I go, just so you know, this year we'll pack that in. It's a good crack and all. But and I get this thing that I can sing. I can't sing. You know what I mean? It's just that I don't have any shame. And because I play music, but I don't sing in a band or anything like that. I just play along.
Yeah.
But I get shoved out because no one on the team can sing.
Do you harbour a little dream of maybe making music your full-time career, that actually there's like a secret rock star just trying to get out?
I'd love to, do you know what, I'd love to do some stuff in performing and acting and spoken word and stuff like that, but I don't think music, I don't have the quality in my hands playing music that you'd need, or the creativity. Like, I love it, and it's.
Is this not your negative self-talk? Is that one? There's need Caroline Curry to intervene. Like,
no. Look, don't get me wrong. I've been playing music for 15 years, but look, I know what good musicians have, and they've got skill, and they hear music and stuff, whereas I have to learn everything. Like, I don't actually do it by ear as well as other people can do it, you know, so
it's really then you bring you over for a gig or two.
And I played with him last year, the Ruby Sessions. It was great crack. We played The Chain by Fleetwood Mac, and I had to do a mandolin solo. It was cool. But no, I love music, but no, I think I don't think that's where my career will end up. Like, I wouldn't be well paid anyway.
Fair enough. It's been great with your time. Thanks a million for joining us this morning. Brilliant to have you in for a chat. SuperValu GA Ambassador Kevin McManamon there on OTB AM this morning. If you missed any of our chat this morning or our interview with Bernard Brogan last night, you can catch them on our podcast, which is just search for GAA and Off the Ball wherever you get your podcasts, or over at youtube.com/Off the Ball. We're back talking rugby at Rory O'Connor in a couple of minutes. First, let's bring you a special report from Japan, where Eoin caught up with a mad Galway couple who've gone on an incredible adventure to watch Ireland in the Rugby World Cup. Have a look.
All right, I'm delighted to say I am at the most famous van, car, whatever you want to call it, in Japan at the moment. I'm delighted to be joined by Maureen and PJ Heffernan, who've come all the way from Clifton, but have not just come all the way, they've driven in this behind us all the way from Connemara. How are you feeling, folks, first of all? You just got here a couple of days ago.
Great. 32 days on the road, and we're going watching rugby now. Yeah, it's good.
And we're still talking.
Maureen's my co-pilot, because we're actually at home now here in Japan, because we're driving back on the right side of the road. All through Europe and Russia, Maureen had to can't overtake, so she was doing most of the driving. I was just driving.
So what gave you this idea that driving from Connemara to Japan would be something that would be enjoyable and that would be fulfilling? What was the idea behind it, Maureen?
PJ's mad idea. Just to go watch rugby and to see a bit of the world and to see where the car make it was the main thing.
Yeah, it's a 16-year-old car, so this is its last trip. So we hope to maybe donate it to a charity if we can out here. We'll be in touch with a few people over the next week or so and take it from there.
What other mad trips has the car gone on?
Oh, well, our son has been an Irish under-20 international. He's been at the 2 World Cups, New Zealand and in Italy. So we took it to Italy for the under-20 World Cup, and it has been at the last World Cup in England.
I was about to say there, I thought you brought it to New Zealand there for a second. It should have been
not that bad. We didn't make that New Zealand World Cup, but we made a big trip of the Italian World Cup.
So talk to us about the route. You leave Clifton, and where do you go?
Leave Clifton, get a ferry from Dublin to Cherbourg, and then Cherbourg, we had no plan. We had a certain amount of accommodation booked. With our first night in France booked in Lille in France, yeah. And we moved on from there. Every day, every evening, we had to plan as to where or what we were doing. We had an idea of our direction within a no man's land base of 50 miles, keeping going east, sun to the south, facing east.
But never known how far the car was going to go. We couldn't plan too far ahead. So we never knew when it was going to break down or
breakdowns, whatever. But touch wood, still driving great.
Were there any hairy moments?
We broke a spring in Germany, and that was a bit scary. But we went into Poland and got it fixed. Great mechanics in Poland.
Actually, it was an old blacksmith's shop that he had, and he actually hand-made the spring for the car. Yeah. You should see it. Like, we took it in at 10 o'clock in the morning. He said, go and have some lunch and come back at 2 o'clock. Your car will be ready. And it was. And ever since then, we had never had a breakdown, never had nothing, except on the ferry. We had to take a ferry from Vladivostok to South Korea to Japan, and the battery died on the way because the car hadn't started in 3 days.
So your Japanese experience so far, you basically came straight to Yokohama, and now you're down here in Shizuoka.
Yeah. Japanese, great people. They cannot do enough for you. Even from buying a ticket at your train station or parking or whatever, they will go out of their way to help you. It's a fabulous country, and I'm really looking forward to another 10 days, 12 days, because we're going to stay just for the group stage of the Ireland campaign, and then hopefully, if we can, get back to the final. you know.
Maureen, why does it say Clifton on one side of the van and Mayo for Sam on the other side of the van?
That's PJ again.
I know, because as a eternal hopeful of winning Sam, you know, we've been at the door. We've been bridesmaids for years. We want to become winners.
Mayo, everywhere.
Yeah.
Well, if Mayo had won, Sam, you would have missed it because you would have been in.
No. I had a contingency plan that we just park the car and fly back. But you know, we're actually watched the All Ireland final, the first final in Kasan.
Right. Okay.
And well, we had sort of planned that we would be there, so there was a nice airport handy, direct flight, but it didn't happen. The Dubs put it out of our misery in the semi-final. But there's always next year.
There's also the rugby, hopefully, that might provide some sort of sporting happiness.
We're at a shrine or a temple down here today, and said the prayers, and one of the people said you should buy a fortune cookie. And whatever fortune cookie we bought, it has been the most.
They were all shocked. Said it was so lucky. So.
Wow, what did it say? Do you know?
We don't know.
we don't know. We have it in the car, so we were going to keep it there. So it's going to become our little emblem of hope.
Genie, maybe we should pass it on to the Irish team as you do your bit. Folks, it's been great chatting to you. It's been a pleasure. Congratulations on making it this far. And hopefully you managed to actually enjoy some of the rugby now that you're actually here.
Thank you very much.
OTB AM on OTB Sports Radio, Ireland's first and only sports radio station.
The 2019 Boyle Sports World Grand Prix Darts is back at the City West Convention Centre, Dublin, from the 6th to the 12th of October. See 32 of the biggest darting stars on the planet, including world number 1 Michael van Gerwen, former Grand Prix champion Darrell Gurney, plus fan favourite Peter Wright. Get your tickets now at ticketmaster.ie and search darts. The 2019 Boyle Sports World Grand Prix Darts at City West. Game on.
Join Bruce Betting now for a risk-free first bet up to €100. That's right. New Irish accounts can enjoy a risk-free first bet up to €100. So if your first bet loses, we'll refund your stake with a free bet. Now that's giving you more. Bruce Betting. In store, online, and now on your phone. T's and C's apply. Please gamble responsibly. See dunlewy.net.
OTB AM.
He's quite a calm character, Jack, which is good to have outside you. And you know, he's picked up. Like anyone who comes into the setup, you know, they're probably, you know, the pressure to learn and step up is on them, and you know, he's responded really well to that. And you know, he's gotten to grips with the way we play and the kind of tactics and the phase calls and what's expected of him. And like I said, that kind of laid back nature has actually kind of aided him, I think, in coming into an environment like this and learning off the likes of Johnny and you know, I know Joey's probably younger than him, but you know, he's been around and in the setup for a while. So I'm excited to play with Jack. You know, like I said, he kind of takes it in his stride, and you know, he's performed really well. Any time he's been given a chance, whether it be in the Six Nations just gone or the Summer Series, and coming over here and coming on last weekend, he's done really well. So excited to take the field.
Right, that is Conor Murray speaking. Yes, sorry, I was looking at my phone because I was getting notification that Kevin McManamon going to be on the Late Late Show tomorrow night. I mean, I approve of everything else, but now he's just cheating on us.
He's a big deal.
He is a big deal. I think you'll find I'm a bit of a big deal is his new line.
Dancing on Ice is going to open.
Are you a fan?
I've seen it, yeah.
Right.
I find it's on a Sunday evening. It kind of reminds me as a kid you used to watch Bullseye, where it's at that time of the day where you're unwinding. Whereas I never really got into Strictly. It's too long.
It's going to interrupt our Red Zone.
No
Jar.
chance. No chance.
We're going to have to turn on Kilbane.
I can watch it and record and fast forward to the good bits.
Yeah.
No. What if he goes?
I know. I suppose I have
sideways. You got to watch it live.
The Red Zone on the.
You'll miss his bit on the VT beforehand.
Well, what did they do?
Just walking Maguire along and.
Yeah.
You know.
Kind of talking about kind of going watching him training and building up and giving a bit of a sob story to get a few people to vote for him. And
we'll have to give this place a lick of paint in case they come in here.
Absolutely, yeah.
If anybody wants to give us a clothing deal, we'll happily, as seen on ITV's Dancing on Ice. That's what it's called, isn't it?
Dancing on Ice, yeah. We'll need to get some ice skates as well as props.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I think we're all going ice skating.
Kilbane's first pair of
We're
ice
all going out
skates.
to Swords or Dundrum. There are lovely ice rinks out in Swords and Dundrum.
Yeah, we were talking to them last
every
night.
Christmas. So So
training out there.
Phil, what have you got for us?
Well, we'll start with the rugby. Obviously, Joe Schmidt has made 4 changes from the win over Scotland, and all 4 changes in the back line. Connacht's Jack Carthy will wear the number 10 jersey in the absence of Johnny Sexton. Only a second ever start for Carthy at international level. Rob Kearney and Keith Earls are back from injury, and Chris Farrell also comes in. He impressed against Scotland after coming on. Jordan Larmour, Andrew Conway and Bundy Aki are the players to make way, but Larmour is on the bench. Joey Carberry also on the bench after recovering from injury, and Sean Cronin gets the nod as the backup hooker to captain Rory Best. And obviously Jack Conan was set to start, but he got a foot injury in the training session, so Peter O'Mahony does start. And Joe Schmidt was actually asked about Peter O'Mahony and the head injury that he picked up against Scotland last week.
Pete was mad keen to play. He only played, that 25 minutes. And unfortunately, I think we might have got Pete back out there, but we had 2 HIAs at the same time, and therefore, the communication wasn't as smooth as it normally is. And when you're trying to repeat words back to somebody, it became a little bit difficult for him. He flew through his HIA2 and HIA3, which confirms to us that he didn't have a concussion, that the HIA process is a precautionary process to ensure that anyone who has a suspected concussion is immediately removed from the field. It doesn't mean that they've had a concussion, and in both Bundy and Pete's cases, they flew through HIA2 and HIA3.
All right, that's good news.
Yeah,
it's not great for Jack Conan. It's a real pity because that was a chance to start that game.
Them rugby studs too were about
who stood in
that
his
long.
foot? Do we know who stood in his foot?
No.
Who would be the worst?
One of the guys with the big studs. It wasn't an old half in a way.
Stander.
Yeah, exactly.
Sorry, he was fucked. It's unfortunate.
Yeah, Italy and Canada kicked off at 8:45. Latest there, Italy
17-0.
17-0. Good start for Conor O'Shea's side. England and the USA kick off at 11:45. Some decent 4th round ties to look forward to in the English League Cup. Manchester United will travel to Chelsea. United struggled against League One Rochdale at times at Old Trafford last night. Finished 1-1 after 90 minutes. 16-year-old Luke Matheson cancelled out a Mason Greenwood goal, but United won 5-3 on spot kicks, so 5 from 5. Greenwood, we saw him playing in Europe last week against Astana. Very much left-footed, but we've heard about him being two-footed. Took his penalty with his right foot, which
is this, sorry?
Mason Greenwood,
right? Which
was a bit of a surprise, but it was a good penalty.
If you'd have missed it,
yeah. But
it'd be more inquiries into the United penalty taking.
Yeah, well, Solskjaer has now got 5 designated penalty takers to choose from. Pogba didn't take a penalty.
Well, I mean, come on, that's ludicrous, right?
Why?
Well, because then he can never take a penalty again. Don't step forward. Don't take that ball, and if he does step forward, don't give him the ball.
Yeah. Well, that's
it's
fair
your
enough.
job now. If he comes over and says, "Oh, I'm taking a penalty," no, because we needed you and you didn't take one.
Yeah, well, that's fair. But if he doesn't take one, then that's fair enough. He's
Did
decided.
he get a bit of a ribbing, and was he throwing his ties out of the cot last night?
No,
I'm not taking a penalty.
Did they just decide that they weren't going to let him take penalties?
No,
anymore,
I'd say
or
they
is
decided that he's not to take a penalty in game.
And then it was
so
like,
next thing, all of a sudden, he was like, "Okay, if you don't want me to take a penalty in game, I'm not taking one in the shootout."
Well, the players that took them, obviously, I mentioned Greenwood, Mata took one, Pereira, Fred, and Daniel James as well.
Right.
So they all scored.
Yeah. So they're obviously now ahead of him. Andy Mitten had a tweet earlier on. Axel Tuanzebe, captain Man United at every age level bar the first team. Tonight he captained the first team against Rochdale, the town where he grew up in after arriving from the Democratic Republic of Congo, age 4, no English, only French and Lingala. At 16, he got A's and A stars in his GCSEs. So a high achiever, Axel.
Yeah, good season last season with Villa.
Is he going to get into this team? I mean, he might be good enough.
Yeah, it's not like they're setting the world alight.
Yeah, but he's not going to get in ahead of Maguire. It's Maguire +1, and it looks like it's going to be Lindelof. I mean, there's talk of him getting the new contract. So
right,
it appears.
He's just depth for now.
Yeah. I see Chris Smalling actually made his debut for Roma last night. Yeah, but the Chelsea obviously will have home advantage for that 4th round tie, and Chelsea were in scoring form last night, 7-1. They beat Grimsby by, and 2 goals from Michy Batshuayi, who started up front. Ross Barkley scored. Here's another one to talk about. Pedro took the penalty. So this talk that Ross Barkley was the designated penalty taker, remember he missed against Valencia. So Pedro took the penalty last night. Reece James impressed as a right full, and Callum Hudson-Odoi back from injury as well. He scored as well, quite a young team. But Frank Lampard, you'd imagine he's looking at that League Cup thinking, yeah, we can have a good run. He went to Old Trafford last season, won with Derby. They'll fancy their chances of beating United. Definitely. Those fourth round ties are on the 28th of October.
Playing better than United.
Big time,
Chelsea playing a lot better.
Same amount of points, and people are wondering why is there more optimism around Chelsea. It's because they have a young team, but they're playing with a bit of flair.
Yeah, they are.
Look, they're making mistakes.
And learning, yeah, exactly. Yeah. But that's what you're going to get out of young players. Yeah. But you can see huge potential in all of them.
Yeah, Liverpool went with a young team as well away to MK Dons last night, and their reward for the 2-0 win is a fourth round meeting with Arsenal at Anfield. Cork goalkeeper Caoimhín Kelleher made his Liverpool debut, obviously kept a clean sheet, couple of decent saves in there, one from a close range header and a long range effort in the second half as well. I don't actually know how he kept a clean sheet because MK Dons had a few chances in this one, but that'll do him the world of good. Harvey Elliott, who they got from Fulham, 16-year-old, he looks quite lively.
Does Caoimhín Kelleher play in this if Alisson's fit, or does Adrian play? So Adrian's miles ahead now.
That's what I'd imagine. Yeah, if Alisson doesn't pick up the injury against Norwich, this is the first we see of Adrian playing.
Adrian's quite young, really, in goalkeeping terms. He's only 31, right?
And do you know what? He's got better. And when he arrived, well, he wasn't. He was doing his own fitness work, but he obviously wasn't sharp. Whereas he was pretty good against Chelsea.
And so, if you're Caoimhín Kelleher and you're looking at long-term evolution and you're a goalkeeper, do you ask Liverpool next season, look, Adrian is 31, he's probably going to be good until he's 34, 35, I need to get game time. I'm happy to stay here in the long run and be your goalkeeper from the ages of 25 to 35. I want to be here, but you've got to give me game time, and I've got to have a season in the Championship or a season in the Premier League.
Yeah, I think Championship is probably more realistic for him. But
how good was he last night?
He was good.
You're saying he's made a lot of big saves. You don't know how he kept a clean sheet, which meant he was.
Well, not even. It was more so just.
They missed chances.
They did miss chances. The save from the header, the ball comes in and you're just waiting for the ball to hit the back of the net, and he saves it. It was a point blank save, so that was good. He saved one from a long range effort, but what was more impressive was he got it around the post for a corner. He didn't carry it out. Yeah, he looks quite.
He was supposed to do.
Yeah, he looks quite comfortable with the ball at his feet. There was one incident in the first half where it came to the edge of the box. Looked like he might have handled just outside the box, but if you saw the replay in slow motion, he was right on the line, and it was borderline.
If Adrian picks up an injury, he's playing in the Premiership next week. Do you know what I mean?
So well, Alisson will be back in the next few weeks. I think they're talking the game at Old Trafford, which is after the next international break.
Right.
But after that, then you wonder what's going to happen if Liverpool beat Arsenal in the next round and they go into the fifth round. Alisson is back then. So what do they do for the fifth round? Do they play Adrian, or do they say, right,
it's your tournament?
You've played.
They'll probably beat.
Interesting, by the way, they didn't tend to go for his name.
No.
Commentary, they just
Keeper
Kelleher. They didn't try the Caoimhín thing.
Keeper Kelleher.
It's very hard to read off a piece of paper if you don't know Irish.
It looks a bit mad.
But if you just say it a few times, or get somebody to say it.
Yeah, I mean,
or if they just listen off the ball and listen to us talk about him.
Yeah, and one of the things when you were the imperial oppressor who was, spread your rapacious arms all around the world, you're going to have to learn the names of the people whose civilizations and cultures you raped.
Yeah.
That's how it works.
I don't know how they're doing with Conor Howrahan.
Rant alert.
Howrahan. I think that's catch. I think it's.
In fairness, they went and asked him, and they did put a video out about it.
So Conor Howrahan, he actually scored in Aston Villa's 3-1 win at Brighton. And Aaron Connolly started for Brighton, taken off after an hour, hit the bar. Now, he scored in the last round against Bristol Rovers. Could have opened his Premier League account at the weekend, but it was cleared off the line against Newcastle. But the fact that he was taken off
it's good sign.
Suggests that he is now really starting to get into Graham Potter's plans for the first team. And
straight into the Ireland team?
Definitely, whatever about the Troy Parrott talk, I think Connolly is definitely more suited. The fact that he's a winger, you can throw him in, he can play down the centre as well, but every time I see him, he just looks like a bundle of energy. I like him.
Yeah, wouldn't Parrott be great though with like 10 minutes to go?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, absolutely. But I'd be pushing for Connolly more so than Parrott. A worry for Mick McCarthy though is Shane Duffy went off injured in this game with 20 minutes to play, and Shane Duffy doesn't go off injured unless he's injured. And
looked in pain, that picture that we saw on screen earlier on.
And that's
what is the suspected injury?
It was just he got a knock. So Graham Potter says it's a concern. If you think we play those qualifiers away to Georgia and Switzerland next month, and it hasn't been a good season for him so far. He's been left out of the team. They've flitted in and out of 3 at the back to a back 4, but this Adam Webster lad that they got from Bristol City is starting with Lewis Dunk. So Shane Duffy is not getting game time. Then he gets thrown in last night, and now he picks up an injury. Now, we do have cover in central defence. Like John Egan was brilliant, I thought, for Sheffield United. Now, but the problem with that is he's playing in a 3
as well. Yeah,
and Sheffield United's 3 is very different to most 3s.
Yeah, he can play. So he's played in a 2 in his career in the past, and he's clever. He's a footballer.
Yeah, so that would be certainly one to keep an eye on anyway, the Shane Duffy fitness update. Also, third round wins last night for Wolves, Sunderland, Oxford. Oxford, the result of the night, beating West Ham 4-0. Burton Albion won 2-0 away to Bournemouth. So the other ties to look out for in the fourth round, Marco Silva's Everton will take on his former club, Watford. You've got Villa against Wolves, Holders Manchester City at home to Southampton, Burton Leicester, Crawley and Colchester, so you're guaranteed a League 2 team in the next round. Chelsea and Man U, as I said, Oxford and Sunderland, and those ties will be played the week beginning October 28th. Yeah, I mentioned Liverpool Arsenal at Anfield, and they're ones to watch out for as well. And the golf is just underway, the Alfred Dunhill Links Championship. So you've got Pádraig Harrington, Shane Lowry, Graham McDowell, Rory McIlroy, Paul Dunne in this one as well. But the interesting thing about this is you get celebrities. You get the likes of who Andrei Shevchenko is playing.
Oh yeah,
Vladimir Klitschko.
Shevchenko loves his golf.
Yeah.
I see Bill Murray playing with one hand and a tie holding
Bill
up
Murray's
his wrist.
playing, yeah.
See that photo? His hand is like this, and there's a tie around his neck, using it as a sling, and he's playing with one hand.
Yeah.
He's addicted.
Who else is there? Huey Lewis loves golf. Yeah. Huey Lewis, Ronan Keating is there. Who else was I looking to see?
How do we get you an invite to the
Ruud Hullet
Links? We've got to work on that.
We got to pull off some miracle for that to happen.
He's played in that before.
Yeah.
Like obviously,
AP plays in it.
Yeah, AP's playing in it as well. Harrington obviously plays with JP. He plays with JP McManus all the time.
Yeah.
Rory's playing with his dad, Jerry.
Very nice. That would be a nice thing to do, wouldn't it?
3 unbelievable courses.
Yeah, so that's always interesting to see.
Saw McIlroy's dad swing yesterday. Did you see that clip where they're talking about the handicap, and he's like, I'll give you 4 shots in the front line, but I'm not giving you 4 in the back line yesterday, because the dad obviously beat him the day before in the practice round.
Right. Is he chewing gum? Jerry always chews gum.
Yeah, he was like, I'll give you 4 shots. Rory's like, I'll give you 4 shots in the front and we'll talk about it after that. And the dad just smacks one straight out the middle.
Proper competition.
Jerry's like, all right. Lovely swing.
Done?
That is it, done. Yeah.
All right, good stuff. Thanks for that. Tomorrow morning at OTB AM, we're going to be revealing the winner of our brilliant competition with Expert Electrical. This morning, we're giving you one more chance to enter our brilliant competition that we've been running all week on OTB AM with thanks to Expert Electrical, giving you the chance to win a top of the range. There it is. 55-inch OLED TV from LG. To enter the draw, all you got to do is share the hashtag OTBAM wherever you're watching or listening to the show this morning, and tell us who New Zealand beat in the 2011 Rugby World Cup final. So who did New Zealand beat in the 2011 Rugby World Cup final? That is pretty much all we have time for this morning. Kieran, thanks for joining us.
No hassle.
We didn't manage to get you press ganged onto a celebrity show just yet, but
no,
give it a couple of years.
You'll be waiting.
Dancing the Stars, no?
No.
What would you do, Phil?
We went through that.
Oh, it's some white collar boxing?
Yeah, that'd be something like that, yeah. Something with a bit of violence.
Yeah.
You get Andy Lee as well to give you a bit of coaching.
Yes,
exactly. All right, that's it from us this morning. We'll be back tomorrow morning from 7:30. Andy Dunne and Adrian Barry are going to be building up to Ireland, Japan on the weekend sports. Are you a friend of the pod? Golf Weekly is live on OTB Sports Radio from the slightly later time at 2:30 today. The Off the Ball show and News Talk is back tonight from 7 o'clock with Nathan, John Giles and all the rest. Good luck.
OTB AM. This is OTB Sports Radio.